Do you know what the public attitude is at the moment towards this meat? Are they likely to go into their local supermarket and buy a packet of this mince?
Yeah, well, they struggle with that because it's not available. The only country that's I think Eirini is Singapore, that currently, you know, there is access for consumers. But the main when people are asked about whether they would try cultivated meat, around it depends on how you ask them and who you ask, but around a third to a quarter of people, probably a third to a quarter of people will say that they would be quite happy to try that. And a lot of the factors that predict whether people would try it are one of the psychological factors we call 𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗂𝗧, which is your fear of new foods, how willing you would be to try something new. So some people are more 𝗧𝗂𝗧phobic than others. Other people are more what we call 𝗧𝗂𝗧philic than others. They're more likely to try new, different things. They enjoy that experience. So there are individual differences that guide our kind of food acceptance, but there's also a lot of different kind of background characteristics that might shape whether you'd be likely to try. So, for example, your age. You know, people have looked at, you know, religion, diet quality. People who are more likely to reduce their meat intake and want a healthier diet might be more interested, for example, in the, you know, the way that the food's made, that there's less, you know, obviously we haven't got the animal welfare issues of factory farmed meat, for example. So those kinds of things. But we've also been looking at, for example, what people are told about cultured meat and how that might shape their willingness to try. So, for example, when you explain what cultivated meat is to somebody, you can talk about the environmental benefits, or you can talk about the animal welfare benefits, or you could talk about the potential health benefits of the future, because the meat could be adapted to become more healthy than conventional meat. So when you tell people about those different things, that can affect their willingness to try. And we're quite interested in that, and how people are taught about, you know, what it involves. Because one of the biggest barriers, I think, that when I talk to people about it, is that they say, well, it doesn't sound natural. But then when you start to think about animals that are bred in farmed conditions, you know, who don't necessarily see daylight, don't necessarily see grass, they're given antibiotics, and they can't even walk. You know, chickens sometimes, because of the amount that of their weight, that the questions of naturalness, you know, sort of start to look different, I think, in people's minds. So we've been conducting work in our department with Eirini about, you know, what people are told when they're educated about what cultivated meat is, and how that can frame their willingness to try.
And is it too soon to tell us what you found? It is too soon? Or?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment we've been looking at, there's been other work that's looked, for example, at taste prime. So when you tell people that this meat could be like the best burger, because obviously you can manipulate the taste so that it tastes really good. You know, the main taste, I think, from meat really is from the fat of the meat, and that's something you could control. And so in the future, the hope is that we would be able to manufacture something that tastes really, really good, that has, you know, a consistent texture that people like. And so there is research that suggests that if people think it would taste better, they'd be more willing to try it. But also that if they think it's better for the environment, certain people are quite driven by that.